Great. Hello again. We are on task 2 for 5.2, so you should be on page 147, I believe. So go ahead and go to 147, and we can do this problem together. I actually really like this problem. I think this is going to help kind of visualize in your mind a little bit better about rates and unit rates. So hopefully this will be helpful to you. So what we have here is Kim takes dance lessons or dance classes. The dance studio offers classes in blocks. So this table below, right here, this table here, shows the number of classes in a block and then the cost for those classes. So what we have here is we have these three ratios. Okay. We're going to focus on these three ratios throughout this task. So first, before we really dive in, let's remind ourselves of what a rate and a unit rate is. Right? A rate is a ratio that compares two quantities that have different units, and the units is like, what are they comparing? Okay, we have two different units that would be like, apples to oranges, or it would be like miles and hours, right? A recipe with cups of flour and cups of sugar maybe wouldn't necessarily be a rate because they both have cups that are being measured. But a rate would be like miles and hours are two completely different things, but they can be connected to each other when we talk about miles per hour. Okay, so here we have and our rate can be a rate is just two quantities that have different units. Now, a unit rate is a type of rate in which the second quantity in the comparison is 1 unit. So it's just a value of 1. So this will make a little bit more sense as we go through this problem. So our rate units are going to be number of classes and money, cost. Those are the two things that we're comparing today. Okay, so for part A, Kim pays $90 for every block of 5 dance classes. What rate can you write to represent this block of classes? So what we're going to do is, our rate is going to be, it's just going to be $90, for every 5 classes. That's our rate, $90 for every 5 classes. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to use this little diagram here to complete the diagram to find the unit rate for classes in the 5-class block. So $90 for every 5 classes is the rate. We're comparing two different things together. Now, the unit rate, we need the second number to be 1. We need that 5 to be 1 because it's comparing to 1 unit. So we're going to use this diagram over to the side here. We have 90 classes, this diagram right here. And what we're going to do is we have, over here on the side, we have $90 per every 5 classes. This is our ratio. This is that we're starting with. And this is our rate. And we need to figure out what our unit rate is. So that 5 classes needs to go down to 1 class. How much does it cost for 1 class? So for 5 to go to 1, we need to divide that by 5. It's a little wonky, but that's okay. And then because we divided 5 from the bottom, we have to divide 5 from the top. Like in the previous task, right? You have to divide the bottom and the top by the same number to get an equivalent ratio. So we have to divide the top by 5. Like that. And we know that 90 divided by 5 is 18. So we're going to put 18 right here. So when it asks what is the cost per class, the cost is $18 per 1 class. And you can write it as $18 per class. But this just always helps me that I remember this is a unit rate. It's $18 per one class. Okay, let's go to the next one. Explain in words what you did to find the cost per class in part B. Okay, so I explained to you how we got from $90 per 5 classes to $18 per one class. So I'm going to let you answer this on your own. Part C, you're going to answer this on your own. So go ahead and pause the video here. Take a minute. Answer this. Explain in words what you did to find the cost per class in that diagram. Okay? Okay, so once you have done that, let's move on to part D. Okay, for part D, you're going to complete the diagram to find the unit rate for classes in the 8 class block. What is the cost per class? Well, let's look. We need to know the 8 class block. Okay, so 8 classes for $120. All right, let's just work. I'm going to write off to the side here. We have our rate is, oh, it's right here. Perfect. That's right. It's in the diagram. We have $120 per every 8 classes. So we need to get down to our unit rate, which is cost per every one class. So first we're going to go with our single unit. Our 8 needs to get to a 1. How are we going to divide to get from 8 to 1? Well, we're just going to divide it by 8. And because I divided the bottom by 8, I need to divide the top by 8. Just like that. 8. So we know that 120, my brain does not want to work, 120 divided by 8 is 15. Okay. So now in part D, it asks, what is the cost per class? That means that now we right here, we know that it is $15 per one class. So it's $15 per one class. Just like that. Okay. Great. So what we're going to do now for part E is we're going to draw our own diagram to find the cost per class in the 10 class block. What is the cost per class? Okay. So what we're going to do, I want you to right now, you're going to pause this video and you're going to write your own diagram. It's going to look like this one right here. Okay. It's going to look like that one. I would like you to write out this diagram on your own. And then once you've done that, continue watching. Okay, so pause now and try it. Okay, so your diagram should look, we have our rate is 10, 10, and 140. I had to write that down here. I wrote it down here. There we go. 10, 140. This is our ratio right here. I wrote it real small right here just so that we could remember it. And so what we're going to do now in this box here is we're going to draw our own diagram. So just like the diagram above, we're going to start with 10 over 140. Okay? And our diagram is going to look like this. Divided by something. This one's divided by something. And then over here, we want our per, oh, I wrote these upside down. We're going to do this the other way here. We got to put 10 on the bottom. Just like before, we're going to do 10, 140. Right? Because we have our cost on top and then our classes underneath. So that was my bad. I wrote it a little bit. I wrote this ratio backwards. Okay, so it should look like that. Okay. So now we need one class here and then whatever our cost is going to be. Okay. Oh. Okay, I'm going to give it more space like that. Okay. So what do we need to divide 10 by to get to one class? 10. Because we divide the bottom by 10, we got to divide the top by 10 too. Like that. So 140 divided by 10 is $14. So our cost per class is $14 per one class. Okay, now our last problem here, our last question is compare the unit rates you found for the blocks of classes. So for this one, let's see here. Oh, sorry. There we go. Compare the unit rates you found for the blocks of classes. Well, when we compare them, okay, we have for the smallest block, we have $18 per class. For the second block, it's 15 per class. And for the third block, it's 14 per class. So when we compare these together, right, when we compare the rates we found for the blocks of classes, okay, we can say, right, that the largest block has the best deal per class. Because it appears that the more classes you sign up for, the cheaper each individual class is, right? So if you're going to take the dance lessons and you're really serious about it, sign up for the 10 lessons because it's a lot cheaper. Okay. All right. Once you finish writing that down, go ahead and move on to task 3.